Let's dive into our product preparation. This is the most important page on your site. And it's not one page, it's all the pages. But the nice thing about e-com is you're building a kind of a functional template. The reason this is the most important page is because this is the page that acts as the landing page for your traffic. This is the page people actually land on. So what's really funny about this, especially for newbies, is they optimize the daylights out of their homepage. And they pay as much attention as they possibly can to their homepage. And then the product pages end up being afterthoughts. Well, for all intents and purposes, the product page is the homepage as far as your customer is concerned. The product page is the homepage for that product, is the way to think about it. So you want to make sure that you're following all the rules necessary and you're spending the time it takes to optimize these pages. And we're going to dive a lot deeper into these. Go ahead, John.
Oh, and just going to say, just as in case anybody didn't know, Smart Shopping can only drive traffic to the product page. So that's just a quick side note. Wherever that product lives, and you can have a landing page built for that product. That's different than all of your other product pages, and that's the way to do that in the feed customization. But for the most part, when you upload your feed, or the feed's created through Data Feed Watch or whatever it is, Smart Shopping is going to send to that product page. So think about your main campaign is going to send traffic only to the product page.
Isn't there one exception, John, with the videos? The Smart Shopping campaign allows for one video and the video goes to the homepage?
Yeah, the video, that's in the ads. So if a lot of times what will happen is if you have a Smart Shopping ad and that ad features imagery and video and then the text, it's very rarely used. It's only used when it can't dynamically remarket a specific product to that user.
And it's going to send them to the homepage.
Right. And what's nice though is since Smart Shopping sends traffic to the product page, and I don't want to say like all of it, but I mean, I don't even know how minuscule of a percentage that a person will land on a product page, and that isn't the product that is dynamically marketed. Usually it's like if you have organic traffic that goes to your homepage and your contact pages and leaves, doesn't ever view a product, dynamic remarketing will put a brand ad in front of them because they're remarketing to all of your website traffic, agnostic of source. So you'll have the videos, but it's not going to be, it'll be other outside sources or other campaigns like search. If you're just sending them to like a collection of product pages and they're not even, but if they don't look at a product, then hopefully Google's not going to be remarketing to them. There's a ton of other people that are trying to dynamically remarket to it. So there is an exception, but it's, I mean, I couldn't even measure how often a video in Smart Shopping would show instead of a dynamic remarketing product ad.
Got it. So product pages, the primary pages, make sure you're using products, titles and subtitles where applicable, obviously. I think the gold standard for these are the folks on Amazon. They go a little too far. The product title ends up really being the product description, but they've done an amazing job at identifying really unique ways of including keywords into product titles that help describe what that product title is. The big mistake, especially with boutiques, the big mistake that Shopify or e-commerce store owners make is they like to name the product something kind of brandable. So you're selling a t-shirt and you just call it like Blue Sky. Well, that's not, it needs to be like Blue Sky extra large t-shirt for men type of. You want to make sure that it's descriptive enough for Google to identify what that product is using the title. Any input there, John? Any correction?
Yeah, so one of the things that we'd like to use is one of the tools, Data Feed Watch. Data Feed Watch is a way to enhance your product titles if you wanted to not change the product title on your website. So what it means is your website has products, descriptions, imagery, all that good prices and that kind of stuff. And that naturally just generates a feed. Now, depending upon your CMS, if you're on WooCommerce or if you're on BigCommerce or if you're Shopify, there's varying ways of having that feed being generated. What's nice about Data Feed Watch is, let's say you wanted to have that very brandable title and you don't want to possibly, I wouldn't say degrade it because that's not the right word, but maybe you didn't want to change the branding of that product, and maybe you have great sales and you're just looking to add Google. If you have, and I always go back to that kind of black wall thing, if this was called Midnight, you can keep it Midnight on the website, but inside the feed it would be Midnight, and then you can supplement it with other keywords essentially. So black leather wallet. But you need to have that somewhere. Google is a self-learning algorithm. I know we touched upon this in the 3x Shopify, so I won't spend a ton of time on that example, but Google is going to reward you with more traffic, and it can sometimes over reward you with bad traffic if you get too big. So if I said black leather wallet, best wallet for pants, and whatever it is, and I just start fluffing the title, black, red, yellow, blue, and it's like, yeah, I just want to show up for all the wallets. You're going to get an influx of traffic that's going to be irrelevant. So pick a very honest title. That's the best way I can describe it. If you ever think you're going too far or not enough, just be honest. What is this? This is a black leather wallet. What is this? This is an Apple iPhone. This is a blue 1 gallon water bottle. Very, very simple. So make sure that your product titles are very clean, because you're teaching a machine, and that machine is going to be a 5-year-old, and they are just going to take everything you say literally. They don't understand sarcasm or anything like that. It's just going to be very literal. And so honesty and simplicity is key for Google, and especially, for your website traffic as well. Product descriptions are going to be the second most important part of your product page to Google, I should say. Product descriptions are supplementary to the title. So if I had a hair care product, and I've done this many times, even for a couple of hair care companies, and if your product has not necessarily just hair care, but like I would say there was one that was nail polish, but the nail polish company, they prided themselves on not having the 7 most toxic chemicals inside of their nail polish. So we called the title, red nail polish -7 free. And it was 7 free in the title. And then also in the description, it was said, this nail polish is free of the 7 most common toxins. And then we laid out each one of the toxins inside of the description, so that anybody that is looking for sulfate-free nail polish, we win, because it's nail polish 7 free of sulfates and blah, 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 blah. So anytime that someone's looking for a specific type of nail polish that doesn't include one of those ingredients, we didn't put it in the title, because that title would be ridiculous. It'd be, red nail polish, sulfate free, blah, 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 blah. But we put that into the description, because Google's going to take a hierarchy of your title and then your description, number 1, number 2 priority. So make sure that your descriptions are as descriptive as possible without being overly what we call kind of fluffed or stuffed. The keyword stuffing is actually the industry term. You don't want to have keyword stuffing in your descriptions, because then you're just going to show up for a lot of random top of funnel, possibly exploratory, not ready to buy type of people that are searching. So your product description, you want to have it to be very explanative, but also think of keyword. This is kind of, if anybody here has SEO experience, this is an SEO type of play. That the same engine that is scanning your page for SEO is the same engine that's scanning your page for shopping. And that's a big distinction, because if you say, hey, I write a blog, well, when you're writing a blog for SEO, you want to have like the key term at least visible 4 times in the first 200 words. It's the same engine. So you're using the same knowledge as SEO or content writing, if anybody has that type of background, into your PPC, because it's Googlebot, it's the Search Console, it's the same engine, which is the reason why DSA works. So the product description, make sure that if someone is not knowing what they need, you explain in your descriptions what it is that they need. And it's a really cool thing. So black leather wallet, it's a title, but if someone isn't searching for black leather wallet, they might be looking at, best wallet for jeans. And let's say your wallet is the best for jeans because it's super thin, it's not bulky, it doesn't retain sweat, whatever it may be. But place that inside of the descriptions, a non-bulky thin wallet that doesn't retain sweat. Because now when it says, and that's best for jeans, because when someone says, best wallet for jeans, Google says, aha, that's not your title, because black leather wallet's your title, but that's your description. So let's match that user. Watching YouTube videos, well, the way that Google gets so in depth is the reason why YouTube auto captions your videos. Obviously because of the Disability Act, to make sure that everyone can be visible to YouTube. But the other part is, when you watch a YouTube video, the auto captions in the YouTube video is an indicator that you're watching a video that possibly can be used to sell you a product later on from anybody. So if you're watching a YouTube video about the best wallet to use for jeans, and that's like, oh, wait, that person's interested in this product that matches yours. So being descriptive in your product description is super important, because Google's going to match what they are doing. Blogs are visiting, websites are visiting, competitors are visiting, YouTube videos are visiting, emails that they're sending. All of those are lead indicators for Google to then start to match that user. You'll see that your smart shopping campaign, sometimes in a week's period of time with $1,000 in ad spend, will go to 350,000 impressions. And that's because it's shotgun blasting the entire United States or entire country or world or wherever you are or wherever you're marketing into saying you've had one indication that you might be interested in this product. Are you interested? No. Well, good. We show you that. You didn't click. We didn't waste any money. It's pay-per-click network. So just as a product page preparation, that title and description are going to be the two main factors for Google that you're going to focus on. Google can't read images. They don't know what the image looks like. That's going to be for the end user. But to Google, the text, the data in the feed is of the utmost importance.
And to the point that John made about this being the same mechanism utilized for SEO, Tamika has a good pro tip in chat. Check the SEO product in the title with SEO Assistant, which is a Chrome extension, and it'll tell you how Amazon and Google would grade your product title for SEO purposes. I think that's pretty cool. We're going to get to the product media here in a little bit. I know for anybody running dropshipping, this is an important step to hurdle. I actually think, especially if you want to commit to the products that you're selling, it can be worth buying the products yourself and taking your own photographs, building your own media. As a matter of fact, that to me is a pretty significant value add. If you're in a pool or an ecosystem with a bunch of Me Too's and you're the only one with custom images, you might be best positioned to sell that product better than anybody else because you're the one that took the time to actually build out the custom and more detailed media. We'll talk about lifestyle images here a little bit later, but that's going to get really important.
Can I share something?
Yeah, please.
I think everyone, this is a company that we market for. I wanted to kind of share with everyone here on the screen. This is what a feed looks like, and this is what I think gives a realism. I'm a visual person again, like I always say. This right here is the feed that's coming from one of our clients here. And when you grab this feed and you open it up, this is what Google sees. So it's not going to see, and you'll see actually this will resize itself. There we go. This is what Google sees here. And this is all Google sees. Smart Shopping only sees this. And you'll see the title, the link. This is a description of the feed, yada, yada. Now here is the first item. And so this right here is everything Google has in order to match the success of your campaign. Or match the user for a successful campaign. I said that way wrong. I don't know what happened. I had a really weird brain fart there. But this is all that Google uses to match up to the user. So they see the title. So right now we see Chris Mark 100% shea butter. Okay, now I know it's shea butter. But if this was Chris Mark 100%, I have no idea what that is. And Google probably doesn't either. The description here: moisturize dry parts of your body, hair, and scalp. Use as a hair scalp pomade or for hot oil treatment under cap. 100% shea butter, nothing added. Ingredient sourced from reliable suppliers in Northern Ghana through women's cooperatives. That's a very kind of odd description. Then you get a link, and then you get the image. And then it just gives like the price and the shipping and all the other stuff. But this right here is everything. Majority of the time, everything Google is going to use. So if you're like, I have a fast website, that's great. I have beautiful imagery, that's awesome. I have great video, that's great. I have an awesome price, okay. But if it can't use this to match up to another user, and this is all that Google sees here, it's going to have a tough time getting off the ground. And it's almost like saying, well, I've built this awesome, search campaign, and I chose 4 mediocre keywords. Why isn't it working? This is where like the possible 4 mediocre keywords will live, is right here. So don't overlook your titles and descriptions, because when you give it to Google, this is what Google's going to see. So if this doesn't have a lot of search traffic, or if there's not a lot of easy to understand nouns in there, you're going to have like an amazing exfoliator to revitalize your essence. Google has no idea what that is. So just make sure that you are very specific and use nouns that a machine can learn. And it sounds complicated, but it's actually just be honest about what it actually is physically, and that'll give you the best result.
Some asked a question in chat. Is it worth getting custom images done? My knee-jerk reaction is it can be, but we're going to show you how to do the images yourself. And we have quite a few clients that I think if, I'm thinking about George, John. I mean, he's got a big company. He does all of his media himself, and I'm pretty sure he does it on a smartphone.
Yeah, he just started doing video. like 2 weeks ago. We got like our first 2 videos, and we've been using them for about for 2 weeks now. But he's going to be doing more video. But his imagery, I'm thinking our ophthalmic client, they use manufactured imagery. So
if it's cost prohibitive, I'd rather the money go to ad spend. And people are so forgiving with I mean, it still needs to be good, but it doesn't need to be ultra professional. You don't need the best photographer in the whole wide world.
Here's what's funny is for your landing page, you want to have imagery that is quality looking. Google needs an image that big. That's all that Google needs. But your landing page is going to need to be of quality. Custom imagery, I think, is most important for drop shippers or for high competition of similar products. If you don't have custom imagery and you're using the standard stock photo from a drop shipper supplier, just know that everyone else is. And that's why we also said lifestyle images are important too, because again, as we touched upon yesterday, that is going to be something that people can see themselves in there. But I think it's going to be most important for drop shippers or when there is a high competition for very similar products. If you have a unique product, you're going to have custom imagery. If you have a product that is, easily identifiable when someone sees it, but the image that was supplied to you is kind of odd, like it might be, from an odd angle, then maybe you're like, hey, I just want to take a better picture of this. I think you have a slide about this already, but we purchase with our eyes first. And that's kind of where on shopping, when you look at when your smart shopping ad is featured in the shopping section of Google Ads. Let me just do this. I'll do a.
Oh, someone was giving us a thumbs up, by the way. He was saying, no. I'm telling you that it's worth getting the custom images done, especially drop shipping.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. And here's just a small test. I just Googled red shoe.
You love red shoes.
I love red shoe.
For as long as I know you, that's been your example. The red shoe and the wallet.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just I get stuck in my comfort zone. You'll see here, there's 2 of them here that kind of stand out to me. Now, it's against best practice, but the ones that stand out to me is this one here and this one here. Now, these are sort of lifestyle images. They're not. Lifestyle images would be the full person of the body walking through the city, whatever it may be. But this is still product imagery. But you'll notice that these are a little bit more unique than this one. This one kind of looks like the drop shipper that just like put on the table, snap a picture, put on the table, snap a picture, and they're just pumping through them. This one looks like it took time, but you're also, kind of getting a little bit of a visual into, oh, that looks good with jeans. I have no idea how that one would look. So what?
I was going to say, doesn't Google prioritize the white background though, since they need the primary image to be a white background?
They say that. I haven't seen that. And that's what's interesting. What Google says and what is actually seen is sometimes a little bit different. And what's nice about smart shopping is smart shopping isn't heavily dependent upon the shopping network. It's actually one of the least dependent on. Usually it's actually dependent upon matching from search with display select. And since it's a masterclass, what search with display select is people that are searching is then will be matched to a person that is then shown a display ad. So for example, if I'm Googling red shoe, I don't need to go to your website. I don't need to click on an ad. I don't really need to do anything. Later on in the future, I'm going to start seeing red shoes just being given to me because I searched. So display select comes in and says, aha, that person has been searching for something. I don't need them to click on my ad. Now that's an indicator that they're interested in red shoe. Why? Because your title was red shoe, not Ruby. And that red shoe now is going to be put in front of that person on YouTube, on GSP, on display, on shopping again when they start shopping, on search. If they ever do a search, they can build a search ad. So it basically says people are doing stuff. You don't have to like pay the $16 per click to be number one. Smart shopping just says, well, I'll just put an ad in front of them and see if they buy. And if they click, if they don't, it's free. So that's why I like smart shopping. It's much more effective for e-commerce. But the reason why the white background is it's not heavily dependent on the shopping network. So if you just put an awesome picture in front of them because of display select, that's okay. It's a display ad now. It's no longer a shopping ad.
Manali has a good tip here. In my experience so far with self-learned photos, use nude/cream kind of backgrounds rather than white to make it instantly look luxurious and or rich. That's a good note.
Yeah, it gives a little bit of it stands out. Yep.
Product media and images. We're going to get to, we've got a whole little slide here on shooting your own if necessary. Nested navigation, I think this is really important. You don't want people to get lost. You want them to know what else exists inside of your store. Everybody has this squeeze page mentality when it comes to driving traffic. That's, I hate to say things are dead because it's just such a cliche, but that's dead. Generally, it takes 2.5 clicks and 3.5 pages before somebody's ready to convert. You need to expect that there's going to be return traffic. They're going to research, look, add to cart, leave, come back, etc. Get really comfortable with the fact that they're going to be traversing throughout your site, and then make your navigation such that it sort of equips them to do that. This, I think, is an upsell opportunity, a cross-sell opportunity. It shows them what else is on your store. And it also gives you the opportunity to brand yourself. In many cases, the second most traffic page you're going to see is your about page. And if you're trying to sell mission, vision, values, if you're trying to, really sort of connect with them on a level that's just outside of your product, that's a cool page to prioritize inside of your nested navigation too. So really strongly recommend investing in making sure that your navigation is clear, easy to navigate, and then also accessible throughout the site. And one of the best ways to do that is just breadcrumbs. And you'll notice that really good CMSs, I think most Shopify themes have this. They have the ability for you to have breadcrumb navigation, so you can see like, oh, here's the home, here's the first category I click, the second one, the third one, and the product page that I'm on, so they can always find their way back without an issue. Social proof, of course, goes without saying. I like social proof that's specific to the product. So if I'm on a product page and I see somebody saying something that's just about the company, that's not nearly as applicable or relevant, obviously, as product specific social proof.
Pulling in reviews from Google on the page as well can be very impactful. So this is a company called Southwest Jewelry Buyers. They're local to us. They're only like a mile up the street. And what you've noticed is this one says Google rating 5 stars. So when you click on it, it just shows up a huge 5-star, and then you can scroll forever for all of the reviews. Now, this will take time to aggregate. But what's really important is if you have a product that is a little bit more expensive, or if you have a product that's a little more competitive, you're going to need to rely on social proof. Otherwise, your fallback is make the price cheaper, which no one wants to do that. So when you can have a social proof that pulls in Google reviews, people trust 2 review sources the most, which is Amazon and Google. Amazon and Google are the 2 most trustworthy sources because they know that it's hard to get rid of those reviews. It's almost nearly impossible. And they usually have had some good experience where if they buy the most heavily reviewed item on Amazon that's 5 stars, most of the time they've had a good experience. So that's ingrained into their psyche that they trust reviews from Google and Amazon is the top 2. And then Robin, do you know what app that is? This is actually a WordPress site. Yeah. So if it's there's going to be Google reviews on Shopify. I'll see if I can find one too, and I'll drop in the chat here. But this here, what's nice about this is this is a little dishonest. He has, I think, like a 4.9, and he just filtered out by only showing the 5 stars. So it's not like he had like a 1 star and he lied and just showed 5 stars. But you can actually sometimes select the reviews that you want. But it has the Google badge here, and it comes from Google rating and that kind of stuff. So I'll see if I can find one for Shopify specifically for the WordPress users and the WooCommerce and BigCommerce that are on WordPress. This is a great tool, and it's powered by Google. So that's what's cool, is it actually pipes and links in right to your Google review rating. But the other part too is with social proof, you need to aggregate it. If you're going to wait for them to simply just kind of leave a review, that's going to be a bad idea. So what we've seen work the best for e-commerce companies specifically is a review after 30 days, asking for a review and then giving them a reward. So to aggregate reviews, one thing that I think is important is to fully explain this. So I've seen this happen a lot, and I've seen it have some good results. After 30 days, there's an email that goes out and says, "How did you like our product?" Or specifically what kind of question. And there's a happy face and a sad face. And it says, "How did you like the product? We'd love to know." The sad face goes to the contact form, and they actually build a specific contact form that's saying, "What was the issue? Let me resolve it." The happy face goes to a Google review. So if they're upset, it goes to you. If they're happy, it goes to review. And so what you can have some supportive imagery, like if you or supportive content. So how did you like the product? We'd love to know. Happy face, sad face. Underneath that is said, if you are happy with the product, and you leave a review, we will send you a 10% off coupon. Now it takes a little bit of time to make sure that you're monitoring that and actually sending off the coupons. But it's a good indicator to say, or it's a good diversion to say, if you're unhappy, you're not going to go to Google. If it's a sad face, don't link that to Google, because that you're just going to aggregate bad reviews. But if it's a sad face, it goes to your contact form. If it's or a complaint form. If it's a happy face, it goes right to Google or wherever you like. If it's, you know, if you're if you wanted to send it over to another aggregating service like it's Trustpilot or Shopper Approved, wherever you have it, yeah, then you send it over to there. But that's how it's a good way to aggregate a good review. The reason why you do it on day 30 is because the package is lost, wrong package, it was a refund, whatever it may be. You have time to work out all those issues prior to asking them. I've seen them done poorly where it's like the product shows up the same day and then you get an email that's like, how'd you like the product? And it's like, this is terrible. You know, it broke and was on fire when it arrived at my doorstep. Like, you don't want those. So wait at least 30 days to resolve any issues. Sad face goes to your contact form, happy face goes to your reviewing platform, and then you can start to aggregate a lot of good reviews. Michael Johnson, I use Shopper Approved, and that's how they do reviews. Yeah, it worked really well to get positive reviews. Exactly. And Shopper Approved is an aggregating service. And they have a direct link with Google, so that is pulled in as an automated extension for reviews. So I do like Shopper Approved. Again, Michael, you're one of the kind of veterans, and I know that I think it's a little bit more expensive than the kind of DIY in the beginning. But it's something that, you know, we really like Shopper Approved, especially with their linking to the automated extensions, which is what we're going to get into obviously when we start diving into Google. But the automated extensions, it's a review feed that goes in through GMC. And it just links into Google Merchant Center, and then that pulls in a 5-star badge or 4-star badge, whatever. Hopefully you have a 5-star badge into your product ratings, so that when they see a shopping ad, your shopping ad has the 5-star rating. And that's something we'll go into a deep dive. But yeah, Shopper Approved, we like them. We've worked with them for, I think, 4 years now, if I remember correctly. But yeah, had good results.
Partners for a minute, and we just got phased out.
We set up a laptop in one of our clients' local offices here at Naturopath, and we put it in his front office with a direct link to Shopper Approved, so that he could say everybody that leaves the office, they would stop by the laptop and write a nice review before they left. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was pretty aggressive too, so they weren't getting out of that office without the review.
Good old Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike. We've got 2 more bullet points. Clear call to action. This is one that it's easy to take this down as a note, y'all, and just like glaze over it and, you know, sort of forget this one later. If you don't tell people what you want them to do, they're not going to do it. Who wrote Story Brand? Donald Miller. Mm-hmm. Donald Miller talks about this a lot. He says that when we communicate with customers, if you take the spectrum of communication from 0 to 10, 0 is, you know, grunts and loud noises, and 10 is like quadruple PhD. We tend to communicate with our customers on a 6 or a 7, which means that we assume a level of intelligence, which I think is, you know, just means that we're empathic human beings. We need to be at a 2 or a 3 online. And it's not because people are stupid. They're not. This is the most educated consumer base we've ever had. It's because they're only partially paying attention. You know, you've got a fraction of a second before they know what they want to do and whether or not they've qualified you, and they're doing a bunch of other things all at the same time. That's why you'll see the really successful e-commerce sites will say things like, click here to buy now, click here to customize your products, etc. We can glaze over that if we want to. I think you do it at your detriment. Let them know exactly what you want them to do next, and don't skip steps. Let them know exactly what you wanted them to do next. So if they need to customize the product, then they need to click here to begin, you know, product customization. If they need to add something to their shopping cart, they need to click here to add it to their shopping cart, and make it really clear. Use the isolation effect, because you want them to be able to see exactly what it is you want them to do, and make your customization options very clear. If you've got really robust products and they can do a lot of things with it, my soft opinion, this is anecdotal, I have no data to support it, John, you might disagree. I think you've got 2 customization tiers before I get bored and jump ship. Because if I have to choose, you know, I'll choose size and color. And then, you know, maybe if you've got a field for me to add like a monogram for my label, but I've seen some products to where I'm basically building the damn thing by myself. And unless that's the value proposition, we have a client that, you know, does custom baseball gloves, for instance, which is a whole value proposition in and of itself. But if that's not the value proposition, and I've got to fill out 4 or 5 different things, now you're making me make too many decisions. And a confused mind is going to say no. Curious, John, whether or not you agree or disagree with that.
Yeah, and I got a quick question. And I'm so sorry to ask you to do this, Cosm. Can you stop sharing so I can see everybody?
Yeah, I prefer that too. Nobody likes looking at a PowerPoint.
Well, what I was wondering is, by show of hands or chat or, whatever it is, all the ayes and nays, does anybody have a product that is needing to be customized before it can be checked out?
Niha's kind of like, yeah, maybe.
I was like, yeah, sometimes. Okay. Again, we do have a client that has a custom glove that needs to be built. A few things that can be customized. Okay. No, but do you have an example? Okay. Well, we have actually a client that has a specific campaign built for his custom glove campaign. It's actually Regina, who's on this call, who's a part of our team here. It's actually one of her clients. But it's actually what's interesting is we have actually a smart shopping campaign specifically for those products, and because they act very differently to the standard kind of smart shopping campaign specifically. So there's a level of customization that has to be done first that it gets really annoying. Like Cosmo said, you have to go through like the colors, the logos, the size, the shapes, all the stuff that has to go through building a custom glove before someone can check out. And we usually take those and put those into a different smart shopping campaign because those people are going to act a lot differently than the people in our standards or in our other smart shopping campaigns. So if there's no one here that Sean says you do custom graphic designs, laser engraving. Okay, those are personalization options. This one is like, here's 15 items that are required before you can even add this to your cart. But if we don't have anybody here that has those type of customizations, then I won't really touch upon too much. But yeah, everything other than that, like what Cosmo said, is leave the customizations optional if they're personalization, which is good. But if it's something that needs to be customized or needs to be custom built, I can touch upon that and saying like, here's how we put that in a separate smart shopping campaign and how we use GTIN, because those products are not actually real. There isn't a GTIN for every single custom glove. Like no one's going to go out and buy a barcode before they ship it out kind of thing. But we won't have to get into that, I guess, if we don't need to.